You are probably thinking, why, Mr. Salles, why would I do the paper in reverse? So, imagine that the mocks did not go the way that you wanted. Let's consider why. The exam is knackering. And the biggest question, the 40 marker, which is 50% of your whole marks, comes last. If you're knackered, or if questions 1 to 4 haven't gone well, you will be demoralised and you'll do less well in question 5. But what will happen if you do question 5 first? You've already prepared a bit of character and a bit of description, or you might even have prepared a plot, and you're going into the exam confident in what you want to write. And you can bash that out in 45 minutes. At the end of that, you'll feel great, and you've already earned 50% of your marks. Then you get to question 4, which is 20 marks, 25% of the exam. So once you've done question 5 and question 4, you've already claimed 75% of the marks you're going to get in the exam. That will give you massive confidence. And if you get knackered, it won't matter, because 75% of your marks are already in the bag, cash in the bank. Those marks can't be taken away from you. But you don't want to rush into this. If your mock went well, don't change anything. But if it didn't go the way you want, this is a surefire way to get higher marks than you got in your mock. Question 3 is 8 marks, the same as question 2. And what typically happens is students spend much longer on question 3 than question 2 because it's harder. So if you start to run out of time now, that's going to be less of a problem. You can spend a bit more time on question 3 because question 1, those 4 marks available, are going to be super easy. Why? You're not going to have to do any reading. You will have read the whole passage several times to answer all the questions. So those 4 marks will probably take you 1 minute to score instead of about 6 at the beginning of the exam. Now I have for you a bonus feature. So these are the reasons why to do the questions in this order. But remember, only do that if the mock did not go well. But now I'm going to show you how to do question 5 with a picture, no matter what the picture is. This method will always get you the marks. So I want you to imagine that the picture is either a photograph or a painting. You don't have to imagine that. That's all the examining board have ever given us, picture or a painting. And so your first section, call it paragraph if you want. I'm not obsessed about paragraphs, but you can do this as a 5-paragraph structure or 5 acts, 5 sections. You're going to describe the person who painted the picture or photographed it. This immediately will give your writing depth because you're not just describing what's in front of you, you're also inventing a persona. This will give you an interesting perspective, and an interesting perspective will give you higher marks. It's also much easier because you get more ideas this way. Number 2, any picture is obsessed with the lighting or the framing or the colour or all 3. And so now you can go into why this painter or photographer has chosen this specific lighting and this specific framing, what appears where in the image, and these specific colours. And instead of having to invent some kind of symbolic rubbish, you're just going to talk about why these are important to the persona. What are they trying to convey? Doesn't matter what it is, but you can see how easy that is going to be descriptive. Number 3, or paragraph 3, why has the photographer or painter chosen this particular person? Because it might be a character or a series of individuals, or this particular place. That's really easy for you to describe the place, but also the person's thoughts. So when you're describing the place and the persona's thoughts, there's going to be depth into your description. And obviously, again, you won't have to spend ages thinking. Ideas will just pop into your head. Number 4, a structural feature which always gets you high marks. You can introduce a flashback. What is it about the person or place that is significant to the painter or the photographer in the past? It's going to remind them of something. You don't have to plan what that is. By the time you get there, you'll have loads of ideas, and just put in a flashback that makes sense to you. What does it remind you of, person or place? And just give that memory to the painter or photographer. It is a doddle. Then we come to number 5, another aspect of structure which is going to jump you up the mark scheme. It's easy to get a circular structure. How? Well, you just go back to the beginning again, our persona, and you're going to say why this moment in particular, the one that's in the picture, is important to this persona. And again, that will be easy for you because your flashback will have given you a clue as to why this is an important place or person, because it'll be linked to this memory that is poignant or emotional or significant in some way. Again, you won't have to plan that out in advance. Now, how will you plan this answer? You'll just write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe a keyword: painter, lighting, or LFC, Liverpool Football Club. Never mind, but anyway, you can remember it that way. And then why, and then flashback, and then circular. Those keywords that you just jot down at the beginning of question 5 will give you enough of a plan, because the rest will take care of itself. Now, you're probably thinking, Mr. Salles, what if it's a story? What if they give us a picture? Instead of that being the description, the picture goes with the story, because they have done that in the past. Well, again, that is easy, because this will also count as a story, a narrative. It's exactly the same writing. How do I know that is safe? Well, because the mark scheme is exactly the same. How do I know that this description will not turn into a story and the examiner will say you're writing a story, it's not a description? Well, because there are no events. And if you haven't got a series of events, you haven't got a story. But if you've got flashback and a circular structure, you can pretend it's a story. And for the exam, it is 100% a story. So now you are fully prepared for tomorrow. If you don't feel fully prepared, you want to watch my video on what examiners want in description, coming up now.